Hello, and welcome to the second episode of the podcast. I'm the host, Cordelia. Today, we're going to talk about this year's new TV show, Old Fashion Cupcake. This is a top-rated BL TV series, and it has only 5 episodes. So in this episode, we will talk about the show story and even the original manga. So, spoiler alert. Right now, the Old Fashion Cupcake is available in English subtitles and streaming on Rakuten Viki for free. So before listening to this episode, I strongly recommended the listeners to watch the show or even give a try to the manga. The first episode of the Old Fashion Cupcake was aired this year, the summer, June 13th, I believe. And at the same time, my social media was exploded by the good comments and snapshots of the shows. Almost every single person that I know was talking about the Old Fashion Cupcake. I just watched it 2 weeks ago after talking with the producer of this podcast. So the memory and the feeling of the show are still very fresh. The Old Fashion Cupcake is actually a TV adaptation of Sagen's manga of the same title. The manga artist's name is actually very interesting, by the way. If we translate this artist's name literally, it means the left side of the bank, the left side bank, and the left side of the river. The manga was first published in 2020. So far, there are only 2 volumes of the manga theory. I got the Japanese edition manga through Amazon.jp, not the CA, JP, this week. And I have to say, the drawings, the art, the story are all above and beyond expectations. I appreciate Sagen's art so much, as well as the story settings, which are so close to life and so relatable. So many lines that I remembered in the manga can be called classic. So the Old Fashion Cupcake is a high-quality TV show. It does not only have the big screen level like filming lines or color tones, but also, the heart-wrapped stories, which also did a fantastic job restoring and also retelling the original manga. Respect, this is amazing production that they did. And also the actors' performance are just so profound. For those who read the manga, the TV adaptations for 5 episodes is only based on the first volume of the manga theory. The first volume, also the TV shows, is about, about burnout, about how to deal with burnout, fears, a lot of flirtings, falling in love, arguments, and finding the meaning of life again with another human being. Wonderful love story. So the story is begin between Nozoe and Togawa. So Nozoe, who is 39 years old, holds a senior position in their department, and Togawa, a 29-year young man, he reports to Nozoe, and Nozoe and Togawa work closely together at one company at one department. I think, in fact, that Nozoe actually hired Togawa. So it's, there's definitely some fate, some, those miracle things in it. Approaching his early 40s, so Nozoe's life, becomes kind of uneventful and sometimes feel like, pool of like dead water. Dull and very flat, nothing very interesting, can be boring. Let's be honest, his life is kind of very boring. So there's nothing Nozue wants, no matter how much others at the company recognize his work, appreciate his work. He gives up the promotion opportunities like for many, 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 many times. We got to know this about Nozue in the first 10 minutes of the first episode. He is like a very good looking. Okay, by the way, the actors, very good looking too, charming and gentle. But one thing about Nozue is he is untouched, and he's kind of lonely and very badly burned out at his daily life or his work. He is just like an uncle, uncle Oji-san, who like kind of like drinks and smokes a lot. But deep down, he dreams to live like a high school girl, Joshikose. Having girl conversation, enjoying cute desserts at the restaurant, taking cute selfies, and dating a good-looking guy, someone like Togawa. Well, he mentioned this, right? For those who actually watch the show, he mentioned this in the first episode. He said, I would like to date someone like you. To Togawa, he said. So which, I'm sure many audience can relate to Nozue. I can, mostly. Life can be very flat, can be very dull, and there are no sparks. There's nothing interesting happen daily. But on the other hand, Togawa, this younger guy, unlike Nozue, he is at his rising period. He, of course, also handsome, yes, and the actor is very good looking too, very fit also, this actor, and then athletic and very energetic, and he's hardworking. So, many details in the show tells us that how Togawa he's very good at what he's doing at work, and he is an excellent support to Nozue at daily work. So both Togawa and Nozue talk about the feeling of burnout, the feeling of haven't accomplished anything so far, don't know what to do, and don't know what they want to do. So no accomplishment, no goal. I don't know why and what living for. Exhausting, wanting to change, but also afraid of trying new things, the feeling of being stuck. So at first, Nozue helps the lost and young Togawa, where, the love, I think that's where the love seed planted in Togawa's heart. Later on, Togawa saves Nozue by having him to go out for anti-aging activities. So, what they're doing in the show is like, doing new things or finding new hobbies together. They go out to cute cafe hopping, also known as like copying the living, hung out like a high school girls. Then the feeling, while they're hanging out so many times, even they meet each other after work on the weekends, then the feelings are built between those two, and then the feelings were slow but exciting. Flirtings come after. I think the flirting takes a huge portion of the storyline. The flirting is amazing. Togawa already, confessed to Nozue. He says, "I like you." 好きですよ. 好き at the 18 minutes of the first episode. Like, he later on he finds excuses about like he means liking you by like, I hung out with you. I like to hang out with you, not just like I like you. But like, the following story, the flirting just like keep coming and coming and coming. As an audience, I had to pause the show to breathe heavily and take breaks from, almost every flirting thing. It's just like, wow, it's overwhelming, but so exciting. And the same happened to me while I was reading the manga. Oh, manga is definitely on another level. So here comes my favorite flirting part. I can't wait to share. In the last episode, the scene at the dark street corner, after they drink and everything, so Nozue, he whispers like beside Togawa's ear. He says, "I am indeed turning 40, but I still cannot control the passion for kissing you in the middle of the street. I screamed with happiness. I remember when I was watching this. The funny thing happened was last weekend, I rewatched the show with my friend and her husband. And then when Nozoe first confesses to Togawa, my friend's husband, all of a sudden, he paused the show and said in a very exciting voice, he said, "Cordelia, this is what happened an hour ago at the liquor store. This is what happened between you and the cashier." I'm like, huh? What are you talking about? So ignoring my forgetfulness and confusion. And then the wife, my friend, she said, "Well, that's very sweet, but I'm sure Cordelia only thought that cashier was just being nice." And my friend looked at me with a very funny face. I'm sure many of us have a difficulty to read the message in real life, but none of us, will miss the single thing when we were our audience, watching the show or even reading the manga. Flirting, oh my goodness, is the best part of a relationship. My friend later told me that day. And then because, the confessions, after the confessions, it is a lot of the arguments, fears, and sometimes lies, and not necessarily to another person, but to ourselves, the feelings. The flirting, this to me, is actually the best part of the relationship. I agree. And I have to say, the flirting is just the best in this show. There are definitely, fears and arguments and the fears to love or to be loved. It's kind of what happened between Nozoe and Togawa. After the confessions, Togawa breaks down and he tells Nozoe that, he knows, his confessions can be scary. So Togawa suggests to returning their relationship to only a leader member relationship, because Togawa is kind of afraid of refused by Nozoe. The fear of to receive love or being rejected. That's very relatable. So here goes, after that thing, I remember Nozoe had this very wonderful scene in the show, also in the manga. It goes I'm almost 40 and he is almost 30. I'm a guy and he is a guy. I am his boss and he reports to me. So yes, a boss and someone who reports to him. I'm just his boss. So Nozoe had this massive fear of age, other people's words, and fear of queers, I have to say too. Nozoe thinks a lot. He is kind of afraid of love or afraid of relationships. He's mendokusai, right? He's also afraid of taking responsibilities. He's kind of running away from it. That's why his life can be flat and dull and not interesting, because he has been running away from a lot of things. So for those who might read the second volume of the manga theory, some very realistic thing that happens. So similar to the fairy tales, many TV show theory have those happily ever ending. Everybody was doing well. The princess and the prince finally get together, but we all know that's not true. Nozoe's, his deep fear is not easy to release. So therefore, in the second volume of the manga, the artist actually provide the space and storyline for Nozoe and Togawa to work on. Okay, that's all I will talk about. I strongly recommend people to read the manga. I don't know the manga is now translated in English or not, but I'm sure that it will be soon, since this TV show is such a big boom, right? So, to gain or win love, Nozoe releases his, he has to break this old unhealthy way of thinking or the habit of running away. So like, just like a reverse the devil card in the tarot card spell. If the moment you draw a devil cards, it tells you have to break the old habit to do things. I don't know, I'm just listening to podcasts and I just said this. But it's the same feeling, likewise for many of us to gain a new life or to get away from the life that we think is boring, from the burnout, to gain a new life, love, or the life that we wish to have. I think the action is needed. One of the only way to break the fears. As Togawa says in the last episode, he says about fear. He said this to Nozue. He says, "Don't worry too much. No matter age, gender, queer, neither different backgrounds, so neither we support the different baseball teams. All of this doesn't matter. Nothing matter. Do not worry about arguments, fights, or disagreements. We will enjoy each other's company until our 80s. Oh my goodness, this is so heartwarming, I have to say. If we take everything as a new experience, maybe, we will all feel less miserable, but find out what we can learn from it and grow out of it. Everything that we had just experience. Try to enjoy the life, try to extremely enjoy the experience. And the best thing is to find another person or a group of people to enjoy the same way as we do. Like we talk about the Japanese TV show together here in this podcast, right? And I'm sure Nozue found Togawa just like that. Again, here's in the last episodes, here comes one of my favorite part, what Nozue tells Togawa. He says, "I want to discover the inexperienced happiness with you. No matter good or bad, I have the confidence to become a part of your life. I love you. 好き。大好き." And Togawa replies to Nozue and he says, "Please don't just be a part of my life. Please fill up my life as a whole." I have so many good things to say, to talk about Sagin, the artist who wrote the story. And so many good things to say about this amazing TV adaptation production. I believe most of the time when we give a lot of positive comments to an art object or a book or a manga or a TV show like this, I believe it's because it speaks our hearts out and it's very relatable. Reading books or watching shows or films often come back to ourselves. We can feel the excitement and the comfort like at the same time. This is actually said by my favorite author, Jeanette Winterson. Watch or read a fiction or watch a show, like reading ourselves as the fact. So, Nozue, he chooses to have a flat life. He gets up from the bed, eats, goes to work, returns home, eats, drinks, and then sleeps. Like many of us, we do this because it is easy, it is manageable. We also have the fears, right? I have a lot of fears. But that's what happens, that we appreciate the show a lot, that to see the changes, to see the sparks, to see the feelings, to see the excitement, to see the flirts, to see the arguments, to see everything, to see this, old-fashioned love stories. Here goes one thing that I just love so much. In the first episode, he After having a one cigarette, Nozue walks into the bathroom. He looks at the mirror, saw his gray hair, feels a bit blue, and then here the opening music comes. And just like what the lyrics writes here about the new excitement of love and life. Can you feel the sparks in your body? It feels like something is going to happen. Are you ready to love somebody? Yeah, to love somebody. There is no magic like the last year big hate show, Cherry Magic, and neither they don't have there's no a lot of food cooking or the recipe that we can learn and take, like the what did you eat yesterday. This show, the Old Fashion Cupcake, is not very sweet, but a kind of 1980s or early 1990s old-fashioned office love story. Thank you for listening to this episode. I hope you had fun, and I hope this episode makes you want to watch the Old Fashion Cupcake again or try the manga. This podcast is produced by Grace and written by me, Cordelia. Thank you again for listening, and I hope to talk to you in the next episode.